I am Tracy Beal. I am the Executive Director of School Connect, and we are so excited today because we get to bring all kinds of amazing members of a School Connect village together to talk about how it takes a village to help every single child reach their potential. And so we want to just give you a bit of a definition of a village. So a village is a community of local leaders who work together to support schools and community goals. They will have challenges to overcome, but what they're trying to do is to build an entire ecosystem, a full environment where our kids are able to grow and thrive. And so who is in that village? Who makes up that village? This pie chart kind of describes that. We hope to have the local business leader, the faith leader. We would love a parent leader from the school, maybe from a PTO or a PTA. We'd love to have community organizations like Kiwanis or Rotary. We'd love to have school leaders, obviously like a principal. We'd love to have the social worker, maybe a parent liaison. We'd love to have a student leader, maybe somebody from the student council, and then government leader. That could be like a neighborhood specialist. It could be somebody from the fire department or the police department. We just love to have all of those members at the table. And today we're actually having an expert panel with about 5 of those people from the village. And so I would love you to have you welcome these people into the studio today. And the first one is Dr. Betsy Hargrove. She is the superintendent of the Avondale Elementary School District. So happy to have you here, Betsy. And then James Arndt is the principal of Camelback High School in the Phoenix Union High School District. So glad to have you, James. We have John Dowd. John works for Core Construction, and we've had an incredible partnership with John for many, many years. And then we have Shannon Cox. She is from Scottsdale Bible, and she really represents a regional champion who is helping to facilitate partnerships at a district level. She does that with several districts. And then we have Jerome Parker. Jerome is a pastor with First Christian Church. And he also is bringing all kinds of partners to schools. And I've been in a village with Jerome at Mountain View for several years. And before that, Palo Verde. So it's a total joy to have you here, Jerome. And then Shay Duryea, who is our training director for School Connect. And so this is our village that we get to talk to today. And I would just love to start with each one of you getting to share who you are and what your role is in your organization. And then we'll use the first question, which is, what is your role in building the village? So your name and your role in your organization, and then how do you function in your role building a village? So let's start with Dr. Hargrove.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you for having us here today. I am Betsy Hargrove, Superintendent of Avondale Elementary School District, and I have been connected with School Connect for, goodness, probably the past 6 years, Tracy, when we started these conversations.
Yes.
It just seems mind-blowing to think that it's only been 6 years, and it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
So my role in School Connect, as I see it, is truly about being that connector, being that person who says, I have faith-based leaders, I have community members, I have civic leaders, business owners, parents, nonprofit CEOs, et cetera, who all want to be a part of the success that's happening here in Avondale. And the other side of it is I have our individual school communities who have their own needs, their own challenges, their own dreams and hopes of where they want to go with their district, with their school in their community, in an effort to make sure that every child grows as a thinker, problem solver, and communicator to pursue that future without limits. My job and my role, as I see it, is to make those connections. How do I take those hopes and dreams of what's happening in our school sites for our children and connect it with these amazing community members who want to be a part of that success and a part of that future? So I'm the connector.
Yeah. So what I also hear you saying, Betsy, is you gave the vision statement of the district, right? This is what our goal is. And then you open the door to community partners for each one of your schools. So that's such a crucial part of what you do. That's awesome. Okay, how about you, James? What is your role in the village?
Hello, I'm James Arndt. I'm the lucky principal at Camelback High School, the Proud Spartans. To me, the school is really should be and can be the heartbeat of a community. And so, just like the heart pumps blood throughout the body and keeps everything in good health, the school is pumping future leaders and scientists and artists, and all the talent that will make our society work and continue to function comes from our schools. And really, we have to exist in a symbiotic relationship with business and faith and all these entities in a community, because that's what makes it all work, is that symbiotic relationship together. Now, as the leader of a school, I know the needs of my community, and I think also I need to know the needs of my business community, of my faith community, of all these other groups who are a part of making the school work. And so I need to be both an advocate for my students and families, and at the same time, I need to be a listener to those people who rely on the school to provide the next generation of talent. And so in a way, I'm a connector as well. But I think I'm really establishing the needs of the school and making that work within the broader community in which we live and work.
I just love that you said, John, that you were, in our language, you were really focusing on win-win partnerships with the partners that you bring to Camelback. So yes, the focal point is the needs of your students, but you also want every business, every faith community, every nonprofit to get to experience something that is great for them as well. And that's just such a powerful thing. That's awesome. How about you, John?
Yes, hello. So as Tracy did say, my name is John Dowd, and I am with Core Construction. So my real focus at Core is client relations and how we can work with our clients, assist our clients, etc. But my main focus is our public schools here in Arizona. And so one of the ways that we participate and take a role within this School Connect community is really obviously the local business side of the equation. So you've got your schools, you've got your local churches, and then you've got the local businesses that step in. And we have we partnered, I guess more so, with School Connect really since they kicked off here in Arizona. And as part of our role in building this village and supporting our public schools, we've worked alongside School Connect in various facets. And so obviously that's supporting them with the community cafes that they've done in many of the school districts across Arizona, but also Love Our Schools Day, which is an incredible program, just getting onto these campuses, beautifying them, encouraging students, teachers, you name it. And then also obviously from a fundraising arm and helping support them on the financial side of things. And I think a great example of that is just with COVID-19 and, the digital divide came on the scene, and we all knew it was an issue here in Arizona and across the country, but I think it really amplified where that divide really stood at. And so we worked with School Connect along with a lot of other supporters and sponsors of School Connect to really make sure that there was equity and opportunity for students across the state here in Arizona to have computers in their hands or internet accessibility. And so really our role as a business partner is just to support them any and every way we possibly can.
Yeah, I love what Core Construction has done with schools all over Maricopa and the state, really. Everywhere we go where we're building a village, Core Construction is able to be at the table. And it makes such a big difference for schools to understand that you're not only building schools, but you're building students, and you're building teachers and families. And that's an incredible gift. All right, how about you, Shannon? Shannon, I think there you go. Now you're not.
There we go. I'm Shannon Cox, and I have the privilege of working at Scottsdale Bible Church. And what that means here in my role is I'm the local outreach director or pastor. And what that means is help connect about 10,000 congregants with different ways to serve in the community. And so School Connect is a no-brainer for any faith-based partner, any church or any organization. And my role is kind of three things. I was thinking I educate. So I'm constantly explaining the needs of a school and the things that our superintendent here and principal just explained of who the school is in a community, constantly educating and explaining to all my different demographics, my generations that are represented in our congregation. Hey, the school's important. Kids are doing this. They have these needs. So I'm educating, I'm connecting them, just like they said, to this village right? So I know my congregants. We have everything on the pie chart: business, firemen, policemen, men and women, educators, teachers, all of those people attend church. So I'm constantly connecting to the village that we have in our neighborhoods. And then I want to mobilize those people. So I'm thinking of that all the time. And whether you have one campus or you have 15, we happen to have 4. And all 4 of those are in a different school district. So regionally, yeah, guess what that means?
So great.
So regionally, I think it's exciting. I get to think big and think of, do I know the superintendent in 4 school districts, or do we have a principal that we have a really good, robust relationship with in each district of what are his or her needs for that culture of that school? How can we help bring all those partners and help meet those needs and help come alongside those kiddos to be excellent leaders in the state of Arizona? So it's a blast. And it also gives me turnkey 5-mile radius volunteer opportunities, which honestly, people don't mind driving downtown or however your city's laid out, you know, your city, but not everybody wants to get on the freeway or drive far. Maybe they need to be close. Well, your local school is close. And so it's a wonderful thing for a church body to be plugged into.
And now, Jerome, one of the things that I love about your role is that you are working directly in the school, but as we work on the school, all those partners spill out and work together in the whole neighborhood. So you guys get to do full community development as well. So, hey, I'd love to hear what your role is in the village.
Yeah, so thank you, Tracy, and everybody. My name is Jerome Parker, and I get to serve as the community pastor at First Christian Church here in Phoenix, Arizona. And so my role, I echo Betsy, I also echo Shannon, is that I'm a connector, educator, you know, slash whatever else. Sometimes I'm a mulch mover, sometimes I'm a trash can picker up, or whatever the case may be. Whatever is needed, that's what we do. And so I really see my role as ensuring that not just our church, but that the faith community is relevant in the betterment of the overall community. I think we have an immense responsibility, no matter what facet of the community you represent. And I just want to make sure primarily that the faith community is upholding their end of the bargain. And so, like Shannon, you said, you said we're in the schools on a pretty much daily basis. At least pre-COVID, we were doing Love Our Schools Day, just providing assistance to parents, and whatever the need is. This is one of the great things I love, is that there's so many needs that a school has, so many needs that a community has. And as we build these villages, and as we embrace this role of becoming connectors and educators and mobilizers, you get to just like pair up and marry up so many great opportunities that blossom into, you know, literally lifelong lasting relationships. And so it's more than just, you know, painting a mural on the school grounds, or fixing the hopscotch lines, or, you know, fixing a swing on the playground. Literally, the things that we do change the trajectory of kids' lives, their families' lives, and then ultimately the community as a whole. So I'm excited about what we get to do.
Yeah. So I want to let anybody answer in any order now this question. And I know that whoever gets to answer first gets to take the first answer. So that's challenging. But I would love to have you guys share an aha moment that you have had as you have worked either from the school side with community partners or as a community partner serving schools. So an aha moment, try to bring those popcorn style any way you want to. And then whoever goes first, second, or third, the next ones have to say something different. There you go. Who's first?
Go ahead, Betsy.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I really want to share with the entire listening audience around the power of what happens with School Connect. And this was a real aha moment that actually happened this year. And I think the word symbiotic came out. I think the word that it's a win-win. I think that the perspective of it truly is around the entire community and bringing people together with needs and with strengths and with gifts and with talents. And maybe what is needed at the table at the moment isn't something that you directly have, but do you know someone who might have, and do you know someone who might want to be a part of this opportunity? And one of the very best moments that I had this year really had very little to do with our district, Avondale, with our children explicitly, but it had to do with our greater community. And we have two amazing partners. One is a business owner and one is a faith-based leader. And literally when a situation comes up, it's the speed dial to, hey, we have this challenge, we have this set of circumstances, can you come alongside of us in this journey? The best call or text I received this year was, hey, we have a challenge. This was the business owner. We have a challenge because, as you know, we experienced a fire in one of our facilities. And we have expended our ability to use our trash receptacles. Could we possibly use yours at the school? And my response, sadly and unfortunately and heartbreakingly, was, I'm sorry, we can't, because of laws around public gifts of public funds, or in this case, a resource. How are we going to do this? I said, though, give me 5 minutes. And my next call was to my faith-based relationship that we had. And I said, hey, this is what's going on. This is what the need is. Is it a possibility that I could connect the two of you to be able to facilitate this need? That gentleman said, give me 5 minutes. They will be unlocked. This is the address they need to go to. And in my mind, that just exemplifies the yes and that surrounds our entire community. And it was a wonderful, wonderful moment for us.
There's two things you said there. One was that you knew that your partners felt free to ask you for help, which sometimes we think of schools as being the places that need all the help. But instead, you've turned that around so that you know your partners know they can ask you. And then when you couldn't say yes to them and wanted to, you had that other partner who was able to say yes. And so that language of it takes an entire village is so true, right? That is really great.
Absolutely. Okay. And can I just add something, Tracy, really quickly, in the sense that this really is a two-way. This really is all of us coming together. And Avondale Elementary School District feels so strongly about being full participants in every activity. This was just a small example of how that played out.
Yeah. And somebody else was trying to jump in there. Was that you, John, or James?
Yes, no, it was me, and I echo everything that Betsy just said, and it's so true. And that two-way relationship and partnership, I think, is something that we have definitely, I guess you could say, benefited from, whether it's from the faith-based side or our school side. It's fun to see how that all comes together. But I think one of the aha moments we've kind of seen is just kind of trying to understand, it's like, why has this not happened sooner? You know, we've got schools that have the various challenges or the various needs, and due to funding or whatever that may look like here in the state of Arizona, those unfortunately aren't able to be met. So I think, like Jerome had said, you've got hopscotch lines that need to be repainted, or lines on the basketball court, or a swing that needs to be fixed. And to a lot of us, those seem like such small things, but to a student or a teacher or a principal, that means the world to them, you know? And so really being the center vocal point that School Connect is, to bring all these resources together between the church and between the school and between the small local business. And the other aha moment behind it all is this, what School Connect does, and specifically I think Love Our Schools Day does, is it allows the community to get into the schools to see what's happening in those schools. We've got, obviously in Arizona, we're really kind of, I would say, fighting to get support at our public schools, in the sense, you know, there's so many various kind of political things and whatnot. And so a way to get support in our public schools is to show people what's happening in those schools. And so through Love Our Schools Days, you get people into the schoolhouse to see what these principals and teachers are actually doing that's benefiting these students or benefiting the overall community, but then also to see, oh my gosh, did you see that mural on the wall that was fading, or did you see those basketball court lines that were non-existent, or did you see the paint in the one restroom that was just falling off the walls, whatever that may be. And so it's allowed the community who may not have students in school anymore to see what's happening in our public schools, because there's so many great things happening as all of us on this call can confess to. So it's been fun to see it and be a part of that aha moment, I think.
Yeah, I totally relate to that, John. There are things that are so fantastic, you can't believe they're happening, that kids would know how to speak Spanish or Chinese or all these things they do. And then on the other side, some of the challenges that students and parents and teachers face in schools is also surprising. So you're right, getting people into that school is so important. How about any other aha moments from our panel?
Yeah, I was just thinking, one of my aha moments was just what opens up and this is specifically to those listeners that might be a part of the faith community. I would just challenge you to go, right? There's this passage in my favorite book that says, "Go, therefore, and teach all people groups." And maybe you're familiar with that book, maybe you're not, but it's my favorite book. So anyway, if you go, which is an acronym for get out, like get out of your comfort zone, get out of your local space, to get out of your four walls and just go and serve, it just opens up just a litany of possibilities. And my biggest aha moment is that as we continue to embrace that ideology of getting out and being part of the fabric of the community, that it provides so many opportunities for everybody's gifts and talents to be utilized. So maybe somebody's an artist and they can paint a mural that will help beautify a school. Maybe there's a contractor that can help, fix the stalls in the bathroom, or maybe there's someone that likes to do public speaking and they can, address kids at an assembly or a parent group, or like whatever your talents and your giftings are, they are definitely needed in the community, and School Connect has been a vital vehicle in not just serving the schools and the communities, but allowing people to realize their gifts and talents and to see their tangible contributions to the health and the betterment of the community. So I just love that.
Yeah, that's so cool. No pressure, James and Shannon, anything you guys want to add? Any aha moments?
I think I would just, to go off what Jerome said, you as a school partner, I've learned that I have to be very clear about what I need, right? I have to come up with a proposal of sorts, or just, establish some real accomplishable goals. And they need to match my partner. But in order to get there, it starts with a relationship. And so everyone has a gift and talent, from a nonprofit, faith, business, whatever. There's something to offer. The school has something to offer. We had students volunteering at a community foundation last weekend. Everyone has something to offer, but it starts with a relationship. And so first you just have to spend time with each other. The reason my metaphor of a beating heart doesn't always work is because so often our schools are not always as connected as they should be. And so it's not just this system that's already working. We have to start by getting to know one another, spending time in each other's spaces, spending a day in each other's shoes. And then it becomes really clear how we can help each other. And so to get to that point of a clear ask, first you just got to build the relationship. And so I would say I'm still doing that in many cases. But I know that those are seeds that are planted, and those flowers will bloom in the future.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You said a lot of really clear and powerful things. You're really trying to get the heart to start beating, right? Of the school and the community partner. And then through relationship, matchmake the right organization to the need that you have, so that you can really move the dial in ways that are significant to the school, but also important to a community partner who wants to feel like they're making a difference even in a bigger picture, right? They know what their role is in that bigger picture. That's so good. How about you, Shannon? You're muted.
Oh, there we go. One of the things that come to my mind are, a lot we talk about painting lines and et cetera. And it kind of feels transactional, right? Or just task oriented. And everybody's talked as well about that relational side. And so one of the things that really stood out to me this last year, my aha, was in kind of a chaotic year of 2020 for multiple reasons, right? Health wise and government wise. And this shined of something. Hey, we all get along. We all hang out. We all talk. We all accomplish something. The government sector, the business sector, the faith sector, we actually partner, and we actually look at kids and teachers and parents and families and believe in them and want to move the ball forward or want to bring healing or hope. Or it was a really fantastic model and thing that I saw. And then we've also touched on the friendships we have with your local food bank, your local, all those things all really synergized this year for us in some of our regions around those school districts. So if we didn't know the food bank who actually helped some of those families, and we didn't know the social worker, and we didn't know, it was a beautiful picture of seeds that were planted that came together and sprouted in 2020, because people were like, you know what, we're going to do this and we're going to work together and we're going to help some families, whether it was relationally, quantitative, qualitative, all that kind of stuff. That's some things you just can't measure, but it brought hope and joy and peace, sometimes in a situation that needed a little bit of that. So that was my big aha last year.
And that aha is so important to highlight, because when you actually look at that, that's what everybody needed, especially as we've gone through as a whole country, a really challenging year. We need hope. We need relationship. We need healing. And so that is really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
So the next question that we wanted to ask you guys was, what do you wish other partners understood about your role? And I just want to say about this question, let's be really honest, because I know that there are times when there's misses. And I will give a personal example. I remember early on when I was bringing I think I was bringing 200 volunteers to a school that had great need. And we were going to do all these different beautiful projects. And I had worked through the local facilities manager of the school. I talked with the facilities manager of the district, and we'd walked the property. I thought that I had crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's, only to discover about a week before I was bringing 200 people and lots of amazing product to the school that there was a form that I had not filled out, and they were about to stop the entire thing. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this. And I so desperately want to bring 200 people and remodel your teacher's lounge and redo your gym and do all the stuff. And it was like this close to not happening. And that was all like misunderstandings and sometimes lack of communication that happened, right? And so what I would have liked the district to understand at that point, and they did, all right, it did work out, is, man, I want to follow your rules, but I don't know them all. So understand that I'm trying to galvanize lots of volunteers and amazing stuff, but I can only do that if you help me to do it well, so that I'm not kind of violating rules or not fulfilling requirements that are needed. Does that make sense, guys? That was a painful one for me that all turned out just fine. But as you think about that, and we can just, anybody who wants to answer here now, what do you wish other partners understood about your role?
I think I would alter the question just slightly.
Okay.
And because when I hear partner, I think of you all, right? That are on the panel, and some of our other partners, they kind of get it. So I think I would just look at it as, what do I wish that other folks in the community would understand about my role? And in a nutshell is that we need your help. Like, we need you to get off the sidelines, not to be harsh or anything like that, but to understand that in order for my role to work effectively, I need you. So that would be the greatest thing that I wish that everybody would understand, is that don't take a back seat and take a spectator role or a spectator posture and say, oh, this is some great stuff happening. Go ahead, guys, and do it. like get in and get muddy and roll your sleeves up with us. So
Yeah, that's a good word, Jerome. Good word. Yeah, Shannon.
I would say the schools I happen to work with and the principals I work with are exceptional, so they already do understand this. But something, Tracy, you said to me when I first met you several years ago, and coming from a fundraising sales background, school leadership, always have a list in your pocket of your top 5 needs. Just being honest, because a church or a business wants to serve you. We want to partner with you, and a wise faith partner, a wise government entity, or a Kiwanis group should be listening to you. And you might have to coach us if we don't get it. So coach us with this gentle list. You can even say, this comes from the district, or do something where we can't argue with you, right? Even if we don't get it. But give me know that in your pocket, in the back of your head. I would give anything to have those hopscotch lines painted, all the way to, I wish somebody would help the nurse do hearing tests, or I wish somebody would be, I often get asked, we don't have any parent organizations in our district. Parents are just doing the best they can with the 3 jobs they're holding. So could you have a team of folks that actually become our PTO? And so, hey, ask me big and don't be afraid, and ask me small and don't, just do it. And so the principals that can do that with me, we rock and roll. And then the second thing is we do need a little bit of planning. So it's usually a little bit of window of these are the tactical practicals, right? I do need a 6-month, let's take it by semester. It helps plan at a large institution or a small church to mobilize the funds and the people and the communication, but also, just work with your timetable. But man, you have that list in your pocket, and be proud of it and be ready to deliver that message, because we're listening.
Be willing to ask, be
Yes.
specific, and be willing to dream big, right?
Yep.
Right.
Don't be afraid. Just ask.
I love that. And the other thing that you said that I think is so important is the goal of a School Connect Village is to be proactive with their principal. So this is not always last minute reactive. This is proactive over the year, building relationships, making plans, really investing in ways that are strategic and have purpose. But then when you have relationships, you can also meet those emergency situations.
Yes.
Shay, were you about to say something?
That I think that's sometimes something that we leave out when we're talking about, oh goodness, am I muted? Okay. I think that's sometimes something we leave out when we're talking about the community and working together. Sometimes we forget to say, at least I do, we're really working towards strategic goals. And so James, when you said, and Shannon, I think you said this too, when I can give a clear picture of what our goals are, then that allows the community partners to matchmake what resources and opportunities they have, and to really make an impact. And so that's what's so beautiful about this model, is we're bringing all of you to the same table, and we're pulling the richness that's present, but we're doing it strategically towards the main goals and challenges that a school community has. And when you do that, you're able to see such dramatic change over time. It's just so powerful. So I was thinking the same thing when you said that, as strategy is so important.
Mm-hmm. And I would love us now to be able to share some stories of incredible things that have happened. So be specific, not general, but just actually share a story of something that has happened either for your school, your district, something as an organization that you've gotten to do, and the results of it. Because I think sometimes people don't understand what's possible, and I would love to hear those.
I can start with that one, and I don't know, it may not be a specific story, but kind of an overall story on what it's done for our company from a business perspective. And that is, obviously we're in school construction, so we're seeing what's happening in our schools just about every day, and a lot of the work we do, it's on active and engaged campuses. And so we're engaging with teachers and parents and students at times if there's STEM learning going on that we incorporate in the construction, and we're engaged with the principal, the community, and so just such a large group. And so we've got our project managers and our superintendents who are all on site engaging with all these people, building relationships over that project schedule, whether it lasts 6 months or 18 months. And there's some strong relationship that's built during that time. And then once that project's over, obviously these people, they're onto their next project, and they still from time to time are able to find ways to give back or reconnect with that principal or this principal, or the principal may reach out saying, hey, we've got, an event going on. Would you guys be interested in participating or sponsoring, wherever that may look like? But I think what School Connect and Love Our Schools Day has done, it's allowed our project managers and superintendents to get back ingrained into those school communities that they were once so close with. And so they get back on the weekends to go volunteer and paint lines or put new swings up or put the urinal stalls up in the bathrooms if they got vandalized, whatever that may look like. And they're getting to connect, though, with that community or that principal or a teacher, whoever shows up to those Love Our Schools days. And so it's something that I think it's been a blessing to our team to be able to be a part of that and reconnect. And it's been fun. And I know it's been very rewarding for our team members overall.
So the value of those catalytic events that just keep happening and keep happening. So a Love Our Schools Day or a cafe or even a summit, the awards event, all these things that keep you engaging over again so that you don't lose momentum.
Right. And I think even to add on one more thing, and this goes back to the prior question real quick, but about what do you wish the other partners understood about your role? And I think from the business community, people at times can feel like that all that's ever expected of them is financial contributions or, money related items. And it's like, that is not the case here. The case here is volunteer hours are needed. At times, financial contributions are needed. At times, purchasing paint. But really, if you have bodies that are willing to volunteer, that is more than enough to get the job done. There's so many partners involved where if each partner takes a little piece of that pie, it will be such a success at the end of the day. So I know obviously as this gets out to cities across the U.S. and to school districts, don't be discouraged thinking that, oh my gosh, it's another organization that just wants money or just wants this. No, they will take anything that you can possibly provide, whether it is time, resources, money, you name it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the relational capital is the most important.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's really good. Others of you, other stories to share.
And speaking, sorry, go ahead, Betsy.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Speaking of the relational capital, you're asking for a story, and so there's a principal at Mountain View High or Mountain View Elementary School, Jill, and we had built this relational equity. To your earlier point, Shannon, where she's comfortable, she got more and more comfortable asking for different things, and that just really warmed my heart. So one day, I guess she was out and about, and she saw another school that had their letters like in big wood, like a big wood mural type of thing. So she sent me a picture of it and asked if we could do something like that for Mountain View. And I was like, to borrow from Betsy, give me 5 minutes. And then in 5 minutes, I called a guy. They were like, yeah, it'll take us a week to do it, and we'll make the Mountain View letters. And so we had a team of guys from our church make those letters, deliver them to the school. And now the school has a tradition of all the kids that graduate from kindergarten and all the kids that graduate from 8th grade going to high school, they take pictures in front of those letters as just to show Mountain View pride. And so that's just one story that came out of a partnership and that relational equity. And now these kids and their families, right? Everybody's out there with the letters, taking a picture. And they're so proud of their school. Like they take pride in it. And that's something that was not the case, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And that has totally turned around just because of the results of the collective from the efforts of the village.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, that is a part of changing the entire culture of the school, creating an atmosphere where kids want to go to school, they want to learn, and they're proud of what they've learned and about their school community. And those letters are a symbol of all of that. What a beautiful thing. So cool. Other stories, Betsy, you were next.
Yes, thank you. And Jerome, I absolutely love that. And that piece around that, it's not the one single act, it's the act that keeps giving forward to the kindergartners in the 8th grade as years go by. So this will play out. It's a legacy at that point. So in Avondale, through our school cafes, we had one of our sites engaged with the local fire department. And the local fire department, in this conversation of, hey, we have students who have single parent, come from single parent homes, who need some support, some mentorship, et cetera. And the battalion chief said, well, what if we connected some of our firemen and women with the students at your school site? And they developed just an amazing program around coming in and checking in on kids. And it started out as, if we could just have you come once a month. And they're like, well, once a month? Well, how about once a week? Like, sure, you can come once a week. And it's become just the regular opportunity to connect with kids. So when you think about that goes into place the year prior to COVID happens. And who was standing with us at the doors of our homes being able to reconnect with our kids, but the mentor firemen and women?
Wow.
Who is presenting a family who had a significant loss with literally household furniture and resources to be able to rebuild their home? Who was at their 8th grade promotion celebrating their students as they came through? And in addition to that, again, it keeps rolling forward. Their chief at the time went to our local community college and said, hey, we're great about building relationships and we love the work that we're doing, but our kids need, they need support through tutoring. Do you have students in the education department who would come over and come alongside of us to be able to provide this additional level of support? And all of these ands have continued to happen. So that's one School Connect. What I want to share with you is that Avondale is happily serves 2 amazing cities. And the police department, the fire department, and the other police department from the other city have now engaged, and we have 4 sites that are participating in this mentorship opportunity with our first responders. And it literally came from a school cafe.
Yeah, that is really cool. Really cool. James, how about you? Do you have a story to share?
Yeah, I think my story is just one in this last year with the pandemic. Obviously our partnership opportunities became so limited because we'd relied on so much face-to-face time. But we didn't let that be an obstacle. And to John's point about, schools needing more than just money, right? Which we do need money. Don't get us wrong. But we start a little TED Talk series. We call it Camelback Chats. We're Camelback High School. We call it Camelback Chats. And so once a week, we reach into the community and asked for a leader. Sometimes, honestly, someone who wasn't a leader, just someone who worked in the community or served in the community to just come and talk to our kids for an hour. And that was a very symbiotic thing. Our kids got experience with a profession or a service area they may not have had experience with before, or maybe a passion they had. And then for those people hosting the chat or being the guest at the chat, they're building the brand, their either personal brand, their company brand, their organizational brand. And it was a win-win, back to a win-win situation. And it was totally authentic and fun. And we had, someone who was an actor, someone who was a banker, someone who was an alumni. I mean, we had people all over the place. And that was the village approach. It was something that was offered outside of the 4 walls of a school, but it benefited our school and it benefited those people willing to participate. So that was a great little anecdote from during the pandemic. Some hope, some light in what was a dark time.
And so important for high school students to have kind of a broader vision of what's possible after high school, right? Maybe what they're going toward. And maybe through those TED Talks and then relationships and follow through opportunities for them to shadow someone or get connected, right? So I think that's so wonderful, James. Awesome. Shannon, I have this secret desire in my heart for you to share the story of computers. I don't know if you were thinking about that at all, but I would love it if you don't mind. Just from your perspective, what was this experience like when you got to meet a huge need?
Thank you, Tracy. And yes, I'll share. So, and we've all reiterated multiple times, we really want relational capital, right? We want to volunteer at a business. We want our people to use their gifting, the mentorship. I mean, that's what really, it's very critical important. We've highlighted that. So I mean, that's almost number one. But we also, there's practical needs. We have to be honest. Like, there are real practical needs. So, long story short, and it's because of School Connect. So other cities, hey, they're your buddies. You get to know these people. I never thought beyond my little neighborhood elementary school necessarily. And then we went, okay, let's think about a district. We actually, this time it was like, hey, let's look at the whole city or the state. And so we've brought up digital divide and, you know, the difference between kiddos that don't have the technology they need at home. They're using their mom or dad's phone. There's no Wi-Fi, et cetera, et cetera. COVID happened. You can't do your homework. You can't do online school. Our elders, which is kind of like our leadership group or like a board you'd have at a business, said, hey, we want to do something big this year. And I'm like, really? Okay, maybe we'll just raise $100,000 and help buy a couple computers, laptops. They came back to us and said, no, we want to do $1 million. And I was like, excuse me?
I did not believe you.
Crazy. I hope you know somebody at a factory across the ocean, because we have a big deal here. So truthfully, it was all, and I just, please hear my heart. There's no bragging in this. I really believe with all my heart, this was a faith-based thing that the Lord generated, just to be honest with you. So, but just the need of understanding in our school districts what the need is, the disparagement of what the technology need, put that together, worked with a company overseas and then this was the cool part. We got to work with the city of Phoenix for CARES Act money. And that was the beauty of it, right? The government, the faith partners, the schools, like, hey, we all get along. We're all doing something together. And together it was like, what, Tracy, almost 12,000 laptops. And because we actually got 1.5 million in donations. No one thought anybody would donate that at the church. I'll be honest with you. We did it ahead of our year-end budget even. And I'm like, literally, if this doesn't come in, will we have jobs? So 1.5 million came in and what it really taught us was, hey, people are listening. We've done so many years of engagement with our public school system that people have paid attention and they care and they get it and they saw the value and it meant something to them, that kids and their neighborhoods were not even around, like 30 miles away. They saw the big picture, and it honestly blew me away that people cared. And so businesses, radio stations got involved. And I guess that goes back to it, man. People want to help kids in schools. They're big on it. No matter who you are, where you're from, like, they got a heart for it. So ask big. So yeah, combined with the city of Phoenix, I'd say it's 12 or 14,000 laptops, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. A clear and compelling need. And then everybody in the village, and this was for a whole city, working together to meet the need of schools in the city of Phoenix for laptops. It was a real privilege to get to watch all of that happen. Yeah, and just incredible.
It was amazing.
Our final question really is around what it's like to have an incredible team that is all working together for the benefit of the school. And I know that you guys have all been a part of that and experienced that. But does anybody want to talk just for a moment about how cool it is to have all these partners who are working together because they all care, all in their different ways? No ideas, no words yet.
Well, I can share our most recent district cafe, which was our first district cafe of COVID year, right? And so I will tell you, our work in Avondale, the expectation is we have a district cafe, and Tracy talked about that. Here's our district mission, and then every one of our schools and communities live within that mission, but they each have their own community. They have their own needs, their own vision, their own direction within that overarching one. Mm-hmm. And so each one of our sites have their school cafes. And from that, we have 2 typically district cafes each year where we come together as a whole group. They bring members of their team, we bring additional new members, and we're able to come together. Well, this was the first in-person event we'd had in our district. And we started with the Love Bus out in the parking lot where people had an opportunity to come together outside and be in community and have conversations with one another. I will tell you, and Shay was there, it was very difficult to bring them inside to be able to continue the conversation because they were really just enjoying being in community with one another.
Mhm.
And we came in, and the first thing we started with, and Tracy knows this story, was one of our civic leaders who has an unbelievably crazy busy schedule. And I said, thank you so much for being here. And her statement to me was, well, I said to our council admin that, we have multiple meetings this week, but this is a meeting we don't miss because there's value to it, there's purpose to it. And that philosophy and that perspective plays through in all of this. And you talk about that high functioning team. We are all in there to support what's happening within our community, to come together as just an entire group of people who are around that mission and vision. We went through our entire cafe, and in the end, literally had to go to another function. I came back about 35 minutes later, and we still had members of our cafe staying and chatting and connecting with one another, because truly it's about people. It's about the relationship. And what I would say to anyone and everyone considering moving forward in this direction, the action or the activity, the Love Your Schools Day, the painting of the lines on a court or a mural, or updating a teacher's lounge, or whatever that event may be, that in our incredible, absolutely impactful. But what truly is impactful is the community that is built. It's the relationship that is lasting and will leave a legacy forever. And so I can't say that enough. Each one of those events provides an opportunity for people to come together and to be able to serve. And doing that changes a community.
Betsy, I loved one thing that you said at the cafe. You said you might not have the specific resource or the answer for the goal or challenge that we're facing, but you might know someone who does. And it's amazing how interconnected we are. And when we begin to actually use and pull on those relationships in that network, how much power is actually present. It's just, sometimes it floors me. Like the story that you shared about, about having a fire and needing to use trash receptacles. I mean, that's something that we hear these stories, but we have city directors asking, well, what would that look like? And actually, you would never think of some of these situations that arise, right? You can anticipate it, but when you know each other and when you're interconnected and you trust each other, then you can lean on each other in incredible and unexpected ways.
Both James and Shannon said it earlier. It's listening and it's being together, spending time in each other's space. And that is so incredibly important.
I know that Jerome might remember this story back when we were both at Palo Verde Middle School. There was an incredible village that had been built over, I think, 5 or 6 years by this point. And one of the faith communities who was a part of that, who'd been serving for years, normally provided a meal for teachers for parent-teacher conferences. And so the social worker from the school called the faith community and said, hey, are we all ready? Well, that night, the night before, their faith leader, their pastor, had passed away on a motorcycle accident. And they were in crisis. They were in shock. Well, the village all showed up at that faith community to support them as they were going through their challenges. And then another faith community actually hosted the memorial service for that pastor. And then all the members of the village shifted positions and roles and took over things that faith community was doing to give them time so that they could reestablish themselves and then come right back into the village. So that whole conversation about commitment and really caring for one another, and then showing up for one another in ways that are even unexpected. That really is a beautiful and amazing picture. Well, as we close this thing out, is there any last thing that any of you have that you'd love to share with city directors around the country? You got it all said?
I just want to say, join School Connect. Just do it. Just be a part of the village.
Be a part of the village. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I want to just say again, thank you to each one of you. Every one of you in your role has made it possible for us to expand village around schools. And we're just honored to have each one of you get to share your expertise and your story. And we're so proud of you. So thanks again. Yes, yes.